Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's ISC2 Knowledge Vault webinar. Once again, I've got the good fortune to have Steve Piper joining me. For those of you that don't know, he's the founder and CEO of CyberEdge Group and does a lot of work with ISC2 on kind of these formats and research that he's doing around cybersecurity, and also his annual report. He's also the editor-in-chief of Security Buzz, but we'll have more on that topic a little later. Today's main focus, though, is going to be on deepfakes and how to get ahead of them. It seems like every day they're getting better and better. I was actually on a web call the other day with a colleague who had a gaming machine under his desk and was flipping himself between looking like Gary Oldman and Keanu Reeves during the call. It was kind of crazy, Steve. Steve, welcome back, and by the way, congratulations on the hockey win last night.
Oh, there was a hockey game last night?
Hopefully your voice holds out through the hour, but let me go ahead and turn things over to you, sir.
Yeah, greetings from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where folks in South Florida are particularly happy. I mentioned to Brandon before our call, my girlfriend and I attended the winning victory of the Florida Panthers over the Edmonton Oilers. We were there last year when they raised the cup, and this year, so didn't get back till almost 1 a.m. So I apologize if my voice is a little scratchy. This really is an exciting topic. Over 4,000 people registered for this webinar. And my guess is there's probably a couple thousand of you that are connected right now because of the hotness of this topic in particular, deepfakes. We're hearing more and more about it every single year. In the way of an agenda, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with just a brief primer on deepfakes, make sure we're on the same page. Where did this name come from? Are all deepfakes bad? Are there laws to protect us against malicious deepfakes? Then I want to shift gears and talk about examples of recent deepfakes, deepfake examples affecting businesses, consumers, government, election fraud, and disgusting deepfake porn and sextortion, which is, as a father of 2 daughters, I cringe to even talk about, but I think it is important to talk about. And then what can we do as a community of cybersecurity professionals? What can we do to help mitigate the risks of deepfake attacks in our organizations? And as always, we're going to save time at the end for Q&A. I love interactive webinars. Brandon's going to chime in, and if you ask any questions along the way, and please, the more questions you ask, the happier we're going to be. Brandon is going to interrupt me on the spot if we're still on that topic. So keep the questions coming. All right, so let's level set about deepfakes. So deepfakes came to be used as a term it was first used, or at least credited as first used, by a Reddit moderator who back in 2017 created a discussion group that featured pornographic videos that featured celebrity faces. So right off the bat, deepfake had a negative, it's a use that's termed used in a negative way, and it largely is. I'm certainly not trying to change that, but the word "deep" in deepfake is a nod to deep learning, okay, which we know is part of artificial intelligence, and there's a tidal wave of deepfake images and audio and video, but these deepfake attacks are used with malicious intent. They're attacking businesses and governments and consumers and affecting election fraud and all sorts of horrible things that we're going to get into. But on a lighter note, not all deepfake videos in particular and images are malicious, okay? Hollywood embraces deepfake videos. They probably don't use the term deepfake, but it is. It is fake. It's using deep learning and artificial intelligence. Back in 2016, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, they used his imagery in the movie Central Intelligence. 2019, the movie The Irishman, they created a younger version of Robert De Niro, as they did with Harrison Ford in 2023 with Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Honestly, I don't know if I'm more of a Star Wars fan or a Star Trek fan. I love both, and I go back and forth. I love The Mandalorian, and this caught me out of the blue. No, I just wasn't even ready for it. When I watched this episode back in 2020, a young Luke Skywalker played by Mark Hamill, I was like, wow, this is just incredible. And it gave me goosebumps. So not all deepfake videos are bad. And this is a little bit controversial. A couple of years ago, I think it was, I've been doing webinars for ISC2 for at least 5 years now. A couple of years ago, I did a webinar on the impact of AI on the cybersecurity industry. And I first shared this anecdote, which I'm sharing again today. And this leverages artificial intelligence, but frankly, deep fake video. Okay. So let me tell you the story. And I'm going to be share lots of anecdotes, lots of mainly unfortunate stories. This one, the jury's out. You can call this good or bad, but regardless, it starts on a tragic note. Back in 2016, this Korean mother lost a 7-year-old daughter to an incurable disease. I'm sure the majority of us are parents, and it's just your absolute worst nightmare. The mother really never had a good opportunity to say goodbye to her daughter. Okay. And that affected her in terrible, terrible ways. She suffered from severe depression and could hardly function for years. She just was obsessed with the loss of her daughter and just couldn't function day to day. So in 2020, a Korean documentary team created this documentary called Meeting You. And they created software that could build an AI environment that recreated the woman's 7-year-old daughter. Okay. And this clip is available on YouTube. If you do a search, Meeting You documentary, I'm sure you can find the video clip. I watched it. And so the woman's wearing the VR goggles, standing in the middle of the room. Then she's moving around. She's looking for her daughter. She's calling out for her daughter. Her daughter's hiding behind a big boulder. And then her daughter comes out with a gleaming smile. And of course, there were images, video, and audio samples provided to this organization to recreate her daughter. And so she saw her daughter, walk her out behind the rock, and she was talking to her. And I almost wanted to cry when the daughter said, "Where have you been, mommy?" And of course in Korean, but there were subtitles, and it's just heartbreaking. But the end of the story here is the woman reportedly felt so much better, after being given the opportunity to say goodbye to her daughter. And in the months and I don't know, months that followed, she felt better and was no longer as deeply depressed. So, deep fake, we certainly, and rightfully so, use this term in a negative connotation. Okay. But not all deep fake videos are bad. Now, we know there's a tidal wave of deepfake content that is absolutely bad, and stuff that is humorous. Okay. So in case you're curious, if you ever wonder when you look at something on Instagram or Facebook or X or whatever, and maybe there's images, maybe it's video, you might wonder, hey, is this legal? To when they produce this. So here's some guidance. Now, obviously, I have a little footnote here. Do not constitute this as guidance. This guidance is legal advice. Consult with your attorney. But the general gist of it is this deep fake content, images, audio, video, it's generally legal if the content is clearly fake, not intended to make you think that it's real. As long as the content is not defamatory or pornographic, that the content is used for satire, parody, or artistic expression covered by the First Amendment, at least here in the US. It's generally illegal if the content falsely portrays someone that harms their reputation. It's used in ads, merchandise, or endorsements without the permission of the person that's being replicated. Content is used in pornography, or content is used to target, threaten, or humiliate someone, which we're going to unfortunately have some really sad examples that we're going to talk about later in this webinar. So these are just some rules of thumb. In terms of content laws, we need more, but we are so divided as a country here in the United States. It's just so sad. But I was very pleased that in last month, the Senate unanimously passed, that's my understanding, if my memory is correct, and the House almost unanimously passed the Take It Down Act. Okay. So Donald Trump recently did a joint session of Congress, a speech, and he referred to a woman, a young lady, which I'm going to talk about later, that was a victim of deepfake. I think it was deepfake images, and I'll confirm that in just a moment. But this led to the Take It Down Act. Okay, so once a platform has been notified that there is, deepfake, it is their obligation to verify it, and if it is confirmed to be, unauthorized deepfake content, they have 48 hours to remove that content, or else face, criminal consequences. Now, there is additional proposed legislation, the Deepfakes Accountability Act, the Malicious Deepfake Prohibition Act, that requires creators to label deepfake content and criminalizes the creation of deepfake content that it's intended for malicious purposes, harming reputations, committing fraud, inciting violence, etc. From what I've been able to come up with, there's 5 states so far that have passed laws related to deepfake content: California, Minnesota, New Jersey, Texas, and Virginia. But there's at least twice that number that have legislation that are currently being considered. For our friends on the other side of the pond in the EU, the Digital Services Act was passed in 2022. The AI Act was passed in 2024, requiring platforms to clearly label deepfakes. And the caveat here, unless it's obviously fake content for satire or parody, then you don't need to have those labels. Okay? Other countries that have passed deepfake content laws: UK, China, South Korea, Australia, and Japan. Okay, so let's go over some lots of anecdotes here. I'm going to be telling a few stories and sharing some anecdotes of recent, in the recent, I'd say 5 years of deepfake attacks, starting with deepfake attacks that have targeted businesses. Okay, just this year, many organizations based in the US were victimized by North Korean operatives who pretended to apply for jobs. Okay, there is employees or contractors with US companies. Okay, they created fake LinkedIn profiles. They created also fake credentials, like fake passports, photos of fake passports and whatever personally identifiable information. Just all of this is fake. And these companies hired these employees and contractors, and before they realized that these people just were not real people, I mean, not who they said that they were, they stole millions of dollars in various wages and paid invoices, stole intellectual property, stole trade secrets from lots of different companies here. Okay, I want that to be on your radar because this is this year. So this, make sure that your HR department has policies for doing background checks, and maybe I don't know, whatever ways to mitigate the risks of your company falling victim to this. All right, next example. Last year, a British construction, and by the way, this is probably, if there's one anecdote to remember from this entire webinar, it's this one right here. This is scary. I mean, really, really scary stuff. Okay, so here's what happened. British construction engineering company Arup Group lost $25.6 million when an employee in Hong Kong was tricked into transferring funds across 15 different transactions after they had a live, I think it was a Zoom call, but whatever it was, Microsoft Teams, but they had a live video call with their CFO, okay, and colleagues. Now, this person had never interacted with their CFO, but they had interacted with colleagues, and the colleagues were live on this call. It turns out that not only was the CFO fake, okay, but the colleagues that attended the call, that participated in the call, they were also fake. Okay, think about about what we call advanced persistent threats. Okay, right, and the kill chain. Where there's reconnaissance, and then there's a foothold established. Usually through spear phishing and targeting an unpatched vulnerability, and installing remote access Trojan, and then using that to have a keylogger to steal usernames and passwords, and then move laterally across the network. And these campaigns can take 250 days to complete, until the mission is complete, until whatever data you're going after has been extracted. This was not done overnight. This was careful planning. This is social engineering on steroids. A lot of work went into pulling this off, okay? But with a very healthy payday of $25.6 million. This is scary. When we talk at the end of this webinar, where I have some calls to action, things that we can do to mitigate the risks, this is the example I want you to keep front and center, okay? In 2019, the CEO of a British energy firm submitted, and this is a smaller amount, $243,000 to pay a Hungary-based supplier after speaking with the CEO of the parent company, the German parent company of this British energy firm. And the CEO of the parent company instructed this person to send $243,000 to pay this invoice, and it ended up going to an account in Mexico. Okay, all of this is from live, interactions with people that you're looking at them in the eyes. Okay, and it seems totally legit, and it could be where they emails are shared to schedule calls, and everything looks entirely legit. But this is all deepfake. Okay, this should be setting off alarm bells in your head. All right, let's shift gears. Some of you work for government organizations, whether it's federal in whatever country you live in, state or province or local. These are examples of government fraud. Okay, I'm born and raised in Maryland. I moved from the Annapolis, Maryland to Fort Lauderdale, Florida about 3 years ago. But my former senator in Maryland, Ben Cardin, participated in a video call that was set up by his staff with Ukraine's recently departed Minister of Foreign Affairs. Okay, so this was a scheduled video call, and the official from Ukraine asked Senator Cardin, "Hey, are you aware of plans to provide Ukraine with long-range missiles? We need these missiles. Are there plans already in the works?" Okay, I haven't seen anything, but I'm guessing we can probably connect the dots on who perpetrated that. Certainly, Russia or a Russian sympathizer. 2023 deepfake video of the UK Prime Minister at the time, Rishi Sunak, making false claims about immigration policy. Okay, so that harmed that harmed him personally. The mayors of Berlin, Madrid, and Vienna, okay, participated in a video call with a fake mayor of Kyiv and the Ukraine. Year before that, or in 2022, deepfake sex video of a female parliament member in Spain that was released to discredit her conveniently right before a party leadership vote, which she ended up losing. Okay, so these are just some examples of government fraud. Consumer fraud. This first one is I think a little bit humorous. It's sad. How especially older people or people that aren't necessarily the brightest among us can be fallen victim. This is that case. So here, where I'm in Florida this year, Florida woman befriended fake Keanu Reeves. Okay, somehow they got connected, and she would have calls and then video calls with the fake Keanu Reeves, and this went on for a couple of years. Okay. And then at some point, Keanu Reeves asked her for a very big favor. Okay, I hate to ask you this, but I really need your help here. I need to borrow $160,000 from you. The FBI is after me. It's benign, but it's temporarily. They've temporarily frozen my assets. I'm making this up, but the details here. I'm embellishing just for the story. But maybe the FBI says. He's saying that, the FBI, my attorney says that it's going to be dismissed in a week, but I urgently need $160,000. Can you help me? Well, when your BFF is Keanu Reeves, certainly you want to help Keanu. He's a good dude. So she sells her car, she takes out a home equity loan and sends him $160,000. Okay, then realized, oops, that really wasn't Keanu Reeves. Same year, this year, Massimo Moratti, former owner of the Inter Milan soccer club, I don't know if he was friends or acquaintances with Italy's Minister of Defense. Okay, so Massimo's on a call with the Minister of Defense. His name is Guido Crosetto, and Guido says, "Hey, we've got some journalists, okay, some Italian journalists that are being held captive in the Middle East. If they don't get €1 million by," and that now these details I'm making up, by 5 p.m. or whatever it is, they're going to execute every one of them. We are willing to pay, but we need 48 hours and they need the money immediately. Is there anything you can do to help us? Could you wire us $1 million and we'll pay you back on Friday? Okay. He fell victim, to this scam. 2024, there was a verified YouTube channel, okay, called Tesla US, and it been in operation for a while, had a lot of membership, and they started a live stream featuring Elon Musk. Okay, the title of this live stream was "Live: Elon Musk endorses Trump ahead of debate with Kamala Harris." Okay, they had 26,000 plus viewers that were watching this fake broadcast with fake Elon Musk. And fake Elon Musk invited the viewers to participate in this crypto investment opportunity. And so grateful you attended this. And we want to offer you this special offer. If you scan this QR code and and I'm making up the details, you deposit whatever dollars or more, then, I don't know the details. But so many people fell victim to this scam and lost money because of this scam. 2023, and this is scary. This is another one of those things as a parent. This is just really, really scary. Okay. An Arizona woman received a call from nowhere. She almost didn't answer the phone because she didn't recognize the number, but she decided to answer it anyway. Her daughter, 15-year-old daughter, was on a ski trip, and you know what? It could be related to her daughter. I think I better answer this call. So she answered it. She immediately hears her daughter's voice, and her daughter says, Mom, I messed up. I'm so sorry. I messed up. And she's crying. And then suddenly a man comes on the line. And he says, I have your daughter. She is, held hostage, and you're gonna give me $1 million for her safe return. And in the background, and this I did read about, she could hear her daughter's voice crying in the background, screaming out, Mom, help me, save me, Mom, please, please. Now the mom happened to be with a friend at the time, okay, and the woman's friend was listening to the conversation. And during the mom's conversation with the threat actor, she said, I don't have $1 million. I can't send it to you. The most I can send to you is maybe $50,000. Maybe I can get that to you by tomorrow. Please don't hurt my daughter. So this good friend, while listening to her friend talk to this, this despicable person, the friend calls the woman's husband and says, hey, your wife is on the call. It appears that your daughter has been kidnapped. And he says, no, she's fine. She's right next to me. Okay. Now, thankfully, the woman's friend acted and prevented any money from being lost here. But that is absolutely scary. Another example of consumer fraud. I can't say definitively if there's a heaven or a hell, and nobody really knows. But if there is a hell, I think the threat actors that have anything to do with deepfake porn or sextortion, as we're going to be talking about, I think they should get a one-way express pass. This is, as a father of 2 daughters, this just makes me cringe. Okay, so I mentioned earlier about the Donald Trump's joint session of Congress, and spoke to a woman that helped influence support for the Take It Down Act. So that this young woman, Elliston Berry, she was in the audience, and she's 15 years old. She was victimized by deepfake porn. Now, this wasn't a video; this was imagery. So a classmate of her transformed, an innocent Instagram, a photo that she posted on Instagram, and turned it into a nude photo using AI and shared it with other classmates. And of course, she was beyond mortified. How this got, bubbled up to the top with so many other horrible things, I have no idea. But certainly this is despicable. Last year, 2024, an Australian teenage boy was arrested for creating deepfake pornographic images of 50 female classmates and sharing them with other students. Meanwhile, that same year, and this is a weird one, this college student in India, a woman was blackmailed by her ex-boyfriend, who generated explicit deepfake images from her social media posts and threatened to distribute them unless she resumed their relationship. I mean, what? I don't even know where to go with that. That's just disgusting and bizarre. I'd say equally. Good news, she didn't take it back. 2023, Interpol, and this is an example of organized crime here. Interpol uncovered a Nigerian ring that extorted over $1 million from US and UK sextortion victims. So basically, the way sextortion works is, there's images that are downloaded on the internet from social media. The victim is notified where they send maybe pornographic images, or their face is transposed on a pornographic actress's body, and said, if you don't pay us whatever sum of money in Bitcoin or some anonymous currency by this deadline, we are going to share this with all of your friends and every single person that works at your company. Okay, so think ransomware, but on a personal level. And collectively, this organization extorted victims for over $1 million in 2023. Celebrities are often victimized by deepfake porn and deepfake videos. Like Joe Rogan was victimized, where there was a fake interview he did with Donald Trump before he did the real one. There was a fake one, and then I think maybe Elon Musk or something that was fake, and that harmed him. But celebrities, unfortunately, and predominantly female celebrities, are often victimized by deepfake porn. Here's just examples in recent years. AOC here in the US, Taylor Swift, Billie Eilish, and actresses like Scarlett Johansson and Emma Watson. The list goes on. Last year, The Guardian posted an article, and they did their own research. And according to their estimates, nearly 4,000 celebrities as of last year were found to be victims of deepfake pornography. Okay, just absolutely horrible. And then election fraud. In 2024, there were fake Taylor Swift endorsements of Donald Trump, fake Ryan Reynolds endorsements of Kamala Harris. And I remember this, during the primary season, when the primary came around for New Hampshire, there were robocalls featuring Joe Biden's voice, advising voters in New Hampshire to just skip the primary election. Okay? The year before that, in 2023, in Slovakia, there was a fake audio recording released days before the election of the leading candidate who, in this fake video, was admitting to rigging the election. Yeah. Lots of horrible things. And then finally, just a few miscellaneous anecdotes here. In 2023, there were images here, as you can see on the top. Fake arrest of former U.S. At that time, former U.S. President Donald Trump. 2023 image of a fake explosion near the Pentagon. Now, this caused the markets to dip, okay, for minutes. Okay, I don't know if it was more like an hour or whatever, but there were dips across the board because of this fake imagery. And this imagery was picked up by less reputable outlets, and then so it was starting to hit the news, and that did cause the markets to dip. A lot of money lost from investors. 2022 fake video of President Volodymyr Zelensky, and in this fake video, he issued a national address and he ordered Ukrainian soldiers countrywide to surrender from Russian forces, just basically saying, we give up, we surrender, turn yourself into Russian forces. Obviously, that was fake. Okay. Hopefully I've scared you a little bit. Okay. Especially as this can affect businesses, but also as parents, how this can affect our children. And I think making our children aware of this at the appropriate age is, maybe a nice preventative thing to do. But what can we do to mitigate the risks of deep fake content in the workplace? Okay. I've got one slide here that's an anecdote from our annual survey report at CyberEdge. Okay. For the last, I guess, 12 years, we've done our annual cyber threat defense report. And we're so grateful to have ISC2 as one of our platinum sponsors. Every year we survey 1,200 security professionals from 17 countries and 19 industries. And one of the questions we ask, and this is something that we ask consistently year after year, on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being highest, rate how each of the following inhibit your organization from adequately defending itself against cyber attacks. So in other words, what is standing in the way? Okay. Down at the bottom of the list in light blue, it's not about lack of budget. We generally have good budget. Budgets continuous, rise every year. Some years more than others, but every single year, collectively, worldwide, IT security budgets are rising. It's not lack of, solutions or too many false positive. It's a two-way tie. And these top two are generally the top two year after year. Lack of skilled personnel and low security awareness among employees. This top one, low security awareness among employees, honestly, this is something that bothers me. Okay. And we need to do a better job, regardless of deepfakes. I mean, there are just so many threats out there. I'm just going to kind of, I don't know if inspire you. I'm just going to share some personal words of wisdom here. If you think about everything that's on your plate, there's lots of stuff on your plate. There's urgent stuff, and then there's important stuff. Okay. Now, not all urgent stuff is important, and not all important stuff is urgent. If you don't have a security awareness program, okay, or if you have a security awareness program, but maybe you're only educating your workforce during onboarding and not on an annual basis, it's important. It's really, really important. It may not be urgent, but it's important. And so what I recommend doing is, discuss this among your leadership and put a stake in the ground. Even if it's Q1 next year, just whatever it is, put a stake in the ground and create a schedule and execute the schedule. Because if you don't get it scheduled, then it's not going to be urgent. If you put a stake in the ground and you schedule it, suddenly it's urgent because you know what? The date that we agreed to is coming up. So now it's urgent. And we need to educate our workforce on how to detect deep fake video. Now, especially because your colleagues may fall victim to live videos, okay? Whether it's in HR interviewing candidates, whether it's in finance talking to suppliers or colleagues, or whatever it is. This can affect your workforce in so many different ways. Now, there are telltale signs. These are not foolproof. And we're going to be talking about technologies that can be used in just a few moments, but common telltale signs that you really should educate. And it can be fun, by the way. Security awareness training can be fun. And there's lots of providers out there that make it fun. But wouldn't it be interesting to have a contest where you have two samples of videos, one is real, one is fake, and have a contest and see who can identify the most deep fake videos, or changing the subject, most spam. I'm sorry, not spam. Spear phishing emails. Okay, and they earn prizes. You can make it fun. So here's some telltale signs: lip sync issues, unnatural eye movements, maybe too much blinking or no blinking, or the eyes just don't move at all. The teeth look unnaturally uniform, just look fake. Lack of emotional voice variation. inconsistent lighting. Maybe there's a shadow in one area, but this other area, there's no shadow. Or maybe the shadow's in a different direction. The shadow's going left in one side and the right in one side. Blurring around the eyes or the mouth or the jaw. Mismatch between skin tone of the neck, and then they bring up their hands and they have much different skin tone. Asymmetry in cheeks, eyebrows, jaw lines, especially during head turns. The head remains static. The body's moving, okay, but the head's not moving at all, or vice versa. The body's moving, but the head's not moving at all. In my research, I found that there was a story where a woman was on a video call and she was trying to be persuaded to issue a payment, okay? And then her antenna was starting to go up, okay? And so I think she was talking to a colleague who was trying to convince her to send a payment to a vendor or something like that. And her antenna started going up because she started to notice some of these things. And then what she did is, because it was a colleague, the colleague worked at the company, she asked questions that only the real person would know, okay? So if it's a colleague, ask questions. Hey, let's say you didn't even have a holiday party, okay? Hey, didn't we meet at the holiday party last December? And I'm almost certainly, did you attend that holiday party last December? If they say yes, and your company didn't have a party, well then boom, you got your answer right there. Or if it's something and you know that person has a son. How's your daughter doing? How was her birthday? Just ask questions and educate your workforce to ask questions just to confirm that the person really is who they are speaking to. Okay. Thank goodness there are technologies out there. There are tools out there that you can use, and these are in alphabetical order, no particular order here. I'm sure this is not an exhaustive list. This is just to sort of get you inspired, but there are tools out there that can help you to discern between real images and fake images and real and fake audio. Okay, so you may want to consider using these tools. Okay. Now, what else can we do? And this is a great time. If you have any questions, now would be a great time because this is the last slide before I do a quick plug of our Security Buzz newsletter and then open it up for Q&A. What else can we do? Okay. First, I do hope that I've inspired you to launch or improve your security awareness program. But what else can we do? Implement secondary verification protocols for financial transaction requests via a different communication channel. Okay, so maybe it's a video call. Hey, I need you to send me an email using your company email address. Okay, not necessarily foolproof, but we're going to disconnect, or maybe during the call. Okay, hey, I'm going to call your cell just real quick, and while we're on the call, just to verify it's you. And does their phone ring? Do they pull out their smartphone and say, "Yep, hey, it's me"? And now you hear a little bit of an echo. That's a nice way to verify that that's real. Implement clear reporting protocols to establish a procedure for employees to report deepfake related content. So have a policy, okay, and a mechanism so that if your employee, even in their personal life, okay, let's say, and encourage your employees to do this, they're, in their personal life, maybe they're victimized by sextortion, okay, and nobody wants to pay money to fuel, cyber criminals, okay, we don't want to do that, but if this employee can let her employer know, hey, I am being victimized here, they're threatening to send us out to all employees that work for our company. I need to let you know so that you can be prepared. And then they can say, listen, don't pay them. We got your back. And we don't think they're going to do it. If they do, if it gets sent out to employees, we're going to jump all over this like white on rice. We got your back. And they're going to send out notices that please disregard. This is our colleague was victimized, and maybe they can even have some boilerplate content prepared in advance. Okay, have your employees' backs. Add deepfake scenarios to cyber incident response plans. You know what? Let's hope for the best, but let's plan for the worst. Okay. So if there's deepfake content, or deepfake videos, that live videos or whatever, if our company is victimized, let's think about ahead of time what we're going to do, okay, and how we're going to respond, and how we can, potentially prevent this from happening again. Don't wait for it to happen. Be prepared for it to happen, and adopt the attitude. And all of you pretty much do this anyway. With potential data breaches or ransomware attacks, it's more of a question than when and if. Okay, and you don't want to wait until you're victimized and then figure out what to do. Same thing here. Be prepared for deep fake content to infiltrate your organization. Don't be caught off guard. Maybe even designate a team responsible for verifying the suspicious content. Maybe it's a separate unit within your security team, or your incident response team. And prepare for rapid takedown requests on platforms, public communications to counter false narratives. Be prepared. I like this next bullet is work with legal. So, hey, legal department, you need to be aware that there's this growing trend here about deepfakes. And so we need you to come up with templates where if we see deepfake content on Instagram or whatever it is, LinkedIn, or maybe it's just other sites, that are, these sites are owned by companies, have a template so that once we notify you, you can within minutes contact that organization to request them to take it down. Have takedown request templates and cease and desist letters ready to go so that they can go out on a moment's notice. Okay, be prepared. But the key takeaway here, and if there's one thing I want you to remember from this webinar, it's this: seriously invest in employee security awareness. Even if you have a rock solid, fantastic security awareness program, I want you to think of it as a program, not a task that you do during onboarding. This is a program. Make sure that deepfake content is covered in your security awareness. Okay, this is important. And if you don't have and by the way, there are so many great webinar recordings in the ISC2 channel on Bright Talk. I'm a CISSP. I know many of you have ISC2 certifications. So you're looking for CPE channels, look at the Bright Talk channel for ISC2. Brennan and I have done webinars on the importance of security awareness training, and we've given you lots of food. There's a webinar recording that hopefully will help inspire you even further, and give you some food for thought on how to structure your security awareness program. But that's the number one takeaway: be prepared and make sure your employees are prepared as well. All right, so Brandon, we covered a lot of ground. I'm hoping we got a lot of questions. I'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Yeah, we do indeed. Busy folks over in the questions area. With these technologies, the detection side, I've heard varying degrees of effectiveness and such. Is it like a watermarking digital? Is it working in real time, or is this kind of after the fact detection for these types of tools?
So as you would expect, it's using artificial intelligence, and the more analysis, the more trials that they have, the smarter and smarter these tools get. Like anything, there's going to be reviews, and do your homework, look for reviews, talk to your colleagues, do your homework. They're like anything else, no two tools are going to be created equal. But they're using AI. If you remember back to the slide on the telltale things, the blurriness around jaws, lack of blinking, too much blinking, head staying still when the body's moving, and all those things. It's using a lot of that. And then possibly maybe other indicators as well, where they have fake videos that maybe have a similar background. The background happens to be used in a lot of different fake videos. So these LLMs are getting smarter. And so, I would investigate, like with anything, do your homework and play around.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And a lot of these organizations, pilot these technologies first because the deepfakes are accelerating in quality for sure. But we'll come back around for that one in just a minute. How do you think that this is going to affect things like red teaming, pen tests, and the like? Do you think our pen test companies are going to start trying to deepfake our CEO to get someone to click a link now?
I hope so. And actually, that's really interesting. And this is an opportunity I never thought of until just now. So there are more than 4,000 security vendors on planet Earth. Okay? And there are so many segments of the security universe, so many tools out there. One area, and this goes to security awareness training. Not only do training and onboarding, and I would say at the very least annual training, and make it fun so that employees don't oh my god, they're making me go. You know what, make it fun, give away
Sure.
prizes, maybe even hire a comedian to do it, or companies that can make it funny. But these companies do simulated phishing attacks where you're doing phishing and spear phishing attacks against your workforce. And I think if you're going to do it, make it 100%. No one gets exempted, not the CISO, not the COO, not the CEO, whatever. But this is an opportunity for those companies to maybe have simulated Zoom calls. I'm making this up.
Sure.
But I think this is an opportunity for them, or insource it. You know what? And figure out technologies. Somebody out there should come up with deep fake as a service. I'm making this up here on the spot. Where they can enable maybe self-service deep fakes against your
Hmm.
employees, just for security awareness, not malicious. Not just like these simulated phishing attacks. If you click on a link when you shouldn't have, what happens is it opens up and it tells you, hey, this is a simulation. If this was a real threat actor, this bad stuff could have happened. Please watch this short video, and that sort of thing. So I think it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for vendors, but also in house. I think over time, I think this is a great idea.
Well, I have a feeling that with as much video webcast content as you and I have done, someone could easily create a spoof of us saying, "Oh, fire your CISO, you don't need security," when in fact it wouldn't
Yeah.
obviously be
I was
accurate.
I actually came close. I ran out of time, but I started to dabble. I was gonna have a video that you were gonna play where you and I swapped faces, and yeah. So last summer when we went to the ISC2 event in Las Vegas, we at the party we took a photo, and oh my god, you're such a handsome devil. You had the suit on with the scarf and whatever, and so I was going to swap faces, but you were wearing glasses, and I
Uh,
I wear reading glasses for reading and computer use, and otherwise I'm fantastic vision, but I wasn't wearing glasses, and you were, and I was like, you know what? But anyway.
that would have been hilarious. Another couple questions about the materials you shared. Yes, there is a PDF over in the attachment section along with some additional supporting materials for you folks over there. And again, if you want to register for our upcoming ransomware event, you can just search for Steve's name on the Bright Talk platform. That'd be probably the easiest way to find it. Where does this fit in with regards to other initiatives that we have? I know you were stressing the important versus the urgent in getting this in, at least from a security awareness perspective. But I've worked in organizations where I get pushback and they're like, well, we got tens of thousand employees and you want 15 minutes of training. How many dollars is that we're wasting by not being billable, for example? How would you go about articulating a business case for this? I mean, you've got some great, rip from the headlines things, but how can we kind of get the support for this initiative? Because it does seem kind of far out. Do we need to start making deep fakes ourselves and showing our leadership?
That's a great question, and it's difficult to answer, but I'm going to take a stab. I'm going to first answer your question on how to do that related to data breaches, stealing credit card numbers or hospital records or whatever it is, and then I'll throw out an idea related to deep fakes. There are lots of great research reports out there. I think three of them My favorite, if I were trapped on a desert island and had one security research report to read every year, it honestly wouldn't be mine. Mine would be in the top three. The cyber threat defense report. My favorite comes from Verizon, the data breach investigations
Yeah,
report. But one of the other in the top three is from IBM Security. And every year, IBM Security does this report, the cost of a data breach, right? And so they give you the average cost of a data breach for in any given year globally, and
hmm
then they do it by industry, and they used to. I don't know if they still do by organization size. Okay, so one thing you can do, and I'll come back to deepfakes in just a moment. But
sure,
let's say you're looking at a security tool, and if you believe that this security tool is going to improve or reduce your risk by 20%. Okay. All right, so I'm going to do some back of the napkin math here. So let's say the average cost of a data breach is $4 million. Okay, and maybe you think that your chance of falling victim is 40%. Okay, so in any given year, that then your expected value, so to speak, would be what was that, 1.6 million. So 40% of 40 million. So if it reduces by another 20 percentage points, then maybe your expected value is 800K.
sure,
So you're reducing your expected value in any given year. And think about it this way: if you think you have a 1 in 5 chance, then over 5 years you're going to be hit, and it's going to be a $4 million thing. So it's going to be like 800K every year. So if it reduces it from a 40% chance to a 20% chance, your expected value is from 1.6 million to 800K. You know what? Then your ROI here is 800K. Okay, so you look at the investment and then compare it to saving 800K per year over 5 years or whatever. So that's one way to do it. Unfortunately, we don't have high volume of statistics related to deep fakes, and
not
we don't
yet.
have the. I think it is going to increase over time. We're seeing these big things like the 25.6 million or whatever it was. That was a big thing. We are going to see it over time, right? And how to look at ROI. What you could do is look at find every victim that you can, do your research over the last 3 years, and you find 11 victims, and add it together, divide it by 11, and the average outlay, the average cost or whatever was, I'm making this up, 1.7 million. But then do some estimations. Okay, well, that's what was paid to transfer to whatever vendor or whatever fake
Sure.
transfer that you were suckered into. But then you're gonna, learn that it's gonna get reported, and then that may cause some lost revenue, lost trust. Now, whatever. So there's ways to do it. I think the IBM annual cost of a data breach
Sure.
report is great for things outside of deep fakes, but this is at least to give you a frame of reference of potential
No, that's a
ROI
good
for
point.
deepfakes.
You mentioned kind of some of the cease and desist and working with other teams in the org, and I was talking to a CISO who did exactly that, but he was working with their marketing and branding department, which manages the company's official social media accounts and everything else, and worked with them to stand up a program where essentially they can flood the internet with real stuff and hopefully squash some of the deep fakes that are coming out, or at least refute them in multiple channels because they have the credible connections to those media outlets. Do you think that that's going to be an effective strategy going forward, or do you think that that one's going to be kind of one that's run by the search algorithms, and hey, if everybody clicked on the deep fake, then the algorithm's just going to promote it over your legit content? I feel like there's almost going to be a platform war here between the news media and social media. What are your thoughts?
Well, there's deepfake content, legitimate content. I don't know that sending out legitimate content is going to just overwhelm the clicks for the deepfake content. But I do want to go back to one of the themes of this webinar is be prepared. Okay,
Yeah,
and so in the battle of perception and reality, perception kicks reality's butt every day of the week and twice on Sunday. Okay, right? Perception wins. So when there is deep fake content out there, the clock is ticking. the more people that see it, then the perception will build. So be prepared. Work with your legal department to be prepared, so that once you find some posted deepfake content, you know what, within minutes, not hours, within minutes, so certainly not days, but hopefully within minutes or hours, a letter goes out to the provider notifying them that there's deepfake content. Please take it down immediately. Okay, because the clock is ticking here. And alert your workforce. Okay, people want to be empowered. They don't want to, see something bad about their company and wonder, is that real? Did that really happen? Okay, so have talk about what the action plan is going to be when this happens. And same with employees. Give them an avenue, educate them. But you know what? Here's an email address that you use if you are falling victim for whatever cyber attack. Reach out to us or whatever you want to do, but be prepared. And quick plug for the webinar. And again, go to the ISC2 channel. You can register now for the July 23rd webinar. It's also going to be one of the things that we're going to talk about on July 23rd related to ransomware. Don't wait. Be prepared.
Number one bit of advice. Steve, always great to see you, my friend. Be well and enjoy celebrating your championship victory.
Parade on
Thank
Sunday.
you, everybody. We'll talk soon, everyone. Be well.